Okay, fine. So in the last class, we were looking at the relation between the area, velocity, and the pressure for a nozzle. Okay, and we ended up with an expression like something like this, where we had an area ratio with respect to the pressure, uh, the dP by P, that is the pressure gradient, what we call. So what will happen if it is a positive or negative, depending upon your the type of flow, whether it is a supersonic flow or subsonic flow. We look into that. So today we'll try to look into the next part, what is called as a diffuser. Okay, what exactly is a diffuser? So a diffuser is so very similar to your nozzle. The only thing is actually diffuser acts as a device which is used to recover the pressure. Okay, so diffuser. So diffuser, it is used to recover the pressure. It is used to recover the pressure. Okay. So when you speak of recovering the pressure, so one of the major things that comes into the picture is the pressure recovery coefficient. Because we speak, see, the recovery of the pressure is in terms of static. So all are the static values, because dynamic values is very rarely considered actually. So but still, so if you want, you can write in terms of static or stagnation, doesn't matter. So static pressure. So what is the ratio of something like that? You might be knowing that pressure coefficient is also called as recovery coefficient. Okay. So now, if I try to put a CD nozzle or maybe your diffuser, it's something like this. So this is a diffuser. So I do have a smaller area at the inlet, and it's gradually increasing towards the exit. Okay. Then, so this is my exit. So if I call this as 1 1 section 1 1, this as section 2 2. So the pressure at the inlet is actually P1 V1, and the pressure at the exit is P2, and corresponding specific volume is P2. So if you look at it, what will happen to your pressure? See, your P2 is much greater than your P1 because I am trying to recover the pressure. Okay. Now, so here in the diffuser, what comes important is actually the pressure recovery coefficient. So pressure recovery coefficient, which is also the Cp. What it is actually? It is the ratio of your static pressure recovery or static pressure rise. So static pressure rise to, okay, to its initial kinetic energy. Initial kinetic energy. Initial kinetic energy. If I try to take the ratio of it, I'm going to get the this particular thing. Now, what is the static pressure rise? It's P2 minus P1. Okay. Now, what is the kinetic energy? Actually, it is rho v square, half rho v square, or whatever it may be. Okay. So, Cp is equal to static pressure rise is actually it's a difference in. So, P2 minus P1, that is delta P is equal to P2 minus P1, that is the static pressure rise, divided by of rho V1 square. So this is the pressure recovery coefficient, or simply we call it as pressure coefficient, what we call. Now, suppose if there is a stagnation pressure at the inlet, stagnation pressure at the outlet, I can write in terms of, so P naught 1 will be equal to P1 plus rho into V1 square by 2. This is my stagnation pressure at the inlet, and P naught 2 will be equal to P2 plus rho V2 square by 2. This is the quantities. If I try to write in terms of stagnation values, so what will happen? So here, so V1 and V2 are the corresponding velocities at the inlet and exit of the diffuser. But but when I try to look into your what we call as the nozzle, the V2 was much larger compared to your V1. Okay, but the diffuser, the purpose of the diffuser is completely different from your nozzle. So here I will try to recover. I'm going to look at the what is the amount of pressure I have recovered, irrespective of the velocities. It doesn't matter whether the velocity has increased or decreased. So the changes in the velocity is much negligible. So V2, say V1 is something like around, it's around 2 meters per second. So V2 may be around 3 meters per second. So the difference between your velocities are not that much, but the pressure recovery is it's greater. So in terms of static values. So that's why we try to quantify your pressure coefficient or the pressure recovery coefficient in terms of static pressures rather than your dynamic pressures. That's one of the reasons. So the ratio of your static pressure increase or static pressure rise to your initial kinetic energy, we call that as pressure recovery coefficient, which is one of the major term which is used in your diffuser design. Okay. Now, one more thing which is very important here, the diffuser efficiency. Okay, the diffuser efficiency, expression for diffuser efficiency. So, expression for diffuser efficiency. Expression for diffuser efficiency. Okay. Now, what is this diffuser efficiency? See, when we speak of diffuser, it is very similar to your nozzle. The ratio of your isentropic enthalpy change to your actual enthalpy change, or isentropic enthalpy decrease or increase to actual enthalpy increase or decrease, depending upon whether nozzle or diffuser. So the definition remains the same. So I can write it as, so this is eta diffuser. Eta diffuser. So I can write eta diffuser is equal to the ratio of isentropic enthalpy change to actual enthalpy change. Okay, to actual enthalpy change. Actual enthalpy change. What is your isentropic enthalpy change? If I try to look into it, so if I let me write the TS diagram. Okay, let me try to the TS diagram. This is my TS diagram, and I do have the pressures which are diverging, and this is an expansion device. So if it is isentropical, it's expanding. I'm going to follow the path. If I call this as 1, this as 2, it's an actual one, it will be going in this direction because there is a corresponding increase in the enthalpy. So if I call this as 2 dash, and I can call this as 2. So this is my pressure. Okay, so I'm going to, this is my P2. So this is how the expansion we try to write it actually. This is how the, sorry, this is my P1. So this is my P1 and P2. So this is the corresponding pressure. So expansion takes place. Okay, it's not a compression, it's an expansion. I'm going to expand from, see here, so I'm going to, this is from P2, sorry, this is at 2, this is 2 and this is 1. Expanding from higher pressure to lower pressure. So this is 2, this is 1, so this is 2, this is 1, this is 1 dash or whatever. So isentropically I am trying to expand from a particular pressure. Okay, I'm going to expand and I'm going to get it actually. So if I try to write it actually, this will be your actual, it is actually H2 minus H1 dash. Sorry, actually it's H2 minus H1, and isentropical it is H2 minus H1 dash. If you write 1 or 2, doesn't matter whether what is at the top or bottom. What one particular thing is, it's a recovery of the pressure. So if I try to write in terms of the values, this will be H2 minus H1 dash divided by h2 minus h1. Or if I write in terms of, this is in terms of velocity. Already we have seen that delta h is equal to r v1. So here v1, see here what will happen is here. So v1 is in case of an diffuser. So in case of a diffuser, your v1 is slightly higher than your v2. I'm not telling that it's much higher, but v1 is slightly higher than your v2. So what will happen to this particular thing? I can write it as this expression. I can write it as your v1 square minus so v1 h2. So this I can write it as v2 dash square divided by 2 they just cancel out. So this will be v1 square minus v2 square in terms of velocities. Okay, in terms of velocities actually. Okay, what will happen to your velocities? Your velocities at 2 is slightly lower than your v1. So that's how I can write it actually. So v1 square minus v2 square. Okay, now if I try to use the your TDS equation, if I try to use the TDS equation, if I try to TDS, which TDS equation? So from the TDS equation, what it is from the TDS equation? TDS is equal to dH minus VdP. Okay, that equation, that is TDS is equal to dH minus VdP, and for ds is equal to 0. So for an isentropic flow, process or a flow.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, efficiency of diffuser V1 square minus V1 dash square, sir.
No, sorry. This should have been V1 dash square minus V2 square. Just see, V1 dash is for isentropic. That's it. Okay, 1 dash, no? So it would have been V1 dash square minus V2 square divided by V1 square minus V2 square. Okay, so for an isentropic process, so your ds is equal to 0. So what will happen? Then dH is equal to your minus, so dH is equal to VdP. dH is equal to VdP. And what is this V? V is equal to 1 upon density. Okay, because this is a specific volume. So I can write dH is equal to dP by rho. Okay, now dH is equal to dP by rho. If I try to integrate it, what will happen? This, if I try to integrate it, so this one from 1 to 2, if I try to integrate it, what I am going to get actually, it's an isentropic this thing. So this is 1 dash actually. So this will become, so h1 dash minus h2. Okay, so h2 minus h1. So this will be h2 minus h1 dash. So this will be equal to 1 dash means just I am trying to, it's an isentropic, divided by 1 upon 1 by rho is constant. So I will be getting, this is P2 minus P1. Okay, if I call this as equation number 1, if I call this as equation number 2, and this as equation number 3, I can call this as equation number 4. It is P2 minus P1. So what I'm going to do actually, H2 dash minus H1. So H2 minus H1 dash. Sorry. You see H2 minus H1 dash. What is this actually? This is mainly isentropic. So therefore, I can write the efficiency of the diffuser. I can write, say I will just go here and substitute for this H2 minus H1 dash. I can write it as P2 minus P1 by rho. Okay, I can write it as P2 minus P1 by rho divided by your 1 by 2 rho V1 square minus V2 square. Okay, so V1 square minus V2 square. So V1 square minus V2 square, sorry. Already it's there, no? It's V1 square minus V2 square. So already 2 is there. Okay. V1 minus V2 square by 2 actually. I have 2 because I am substituting for H1 minus H2. What will happen here? V1 dash square minus V2 square by 2, V1 square minus V2 square by 2, they just cancel out. So if I try to write it, this will be V1 square minus V2 square by 2. Okay, so I have it. So if I try to simplify this, what will happen? So denominator go to the numerator. This will be 2 into P2 minus P1 divided by rho into V1 square minus V2 square. Okay, this will be the expression for your diffuser. Okay, this will be the expression for your diffuser. Okay, now if maybe whatever the thing we are trying to study now, so this is for a diffuser. Do we have a similar kind of pressure loss, something for a nozzle? Yes. So I think we just left out. So there is something called as pressure loss coefficient. Okay, pressure loss coefficient. But in case of nozzle, your stagnation pressure is more important. Stagnation pressure is more important compared to even diffuser. Static pressure is more important. Why? In case of a nozzle, the fluid is getting accelerated. Fluid is getting accelerated, so stagnation pressure becomes more significant compared to your static pressure. So that's why. So maybe it's something we left out. We'll try to write it here itself. So for a nozzle, actually, so we have total pressure loss coefficient. Just now I remember. So for a nozzle, so for a nozzle, so we have what is called as pressure loss coefficient. So it may be some zeta. Okay, it may be some zeta. Let me call it as zeta. Okay, so it is defined as so drop in total pressure. It's not a static pressure. Or static pressure rise in case of a diffuser. Here it will be drop in total pressure or stagnation pressure. So drop in total pressure across the nozzle. So let me write in detail so it will be easy for you to remember. So divided by anyway in the denominator it's the initial kinetic energy. So it's the initial kinetic energy. Initial kinetic energy. So what it will be actually? So this will be P01 minus P02 divided by of rho V1 square. This is for zeta, where V1 is the initial velocity. Initial velocity and P01 is equal to P1 plus of rho V1 square and P02 is equal to P2 plus of rho V2 square. This is based on your based on your stagnation values. So I left out in when I was discussing on the diffuser. So this pressure coefficient, what we call a total, it's a pressure loss coefficient in case of a nozzle, and here we simply call it as, so in case of a diffuser we simply call it as pressure recovery coefficient. So in nozzle I could see there is a loss in the pressure, but in case of your what we call it as in the diffuser, it is the pressure recovery. In case of the nozzle, it is the pressure loss. Okay. Now, so what will happen if if we know that the velocity is going to increase in case of a maybe a nozzle or something. So velocity numbers are going to increase. So now, is there something we call it as is there any for an adiabatic frictionless flow? If I consider a frictionless flow, so what will happen to your maybe what we call it as your mass flow rate to or mass flow rate? Is there any something like with respect to your m dot, what we call it as a mass flow rate? Is there in some relationship is what we need to look at? Suppose in a nozzle, what will be the value of critical pressure ratio for an adiabatic? That is frictionless means it's purely an isentropic. from a given initial velocity. If you try to look into this kind of expressions, this kind of what will be the corresponding mass flow rate or velocity, so then the corresponding numbers what we get it actually either a mass flow rate or a, so there is some kind of relation between that, one thing. And second thing is how we are going to design these nozzles and the diffusers for a given conditions. So what are the parameters which we consider? So those things we have to look at it. So just try to look into the expression for that. So expression for critical pressure ratio. Expression for the critical pressure ratio for a frictionless adiabatic flow. So expression for critical pressure ratio for an adiabatic frictionless flow through a nozzle from a given velocity, from an initial velocity. That means if I know the, see what we have considered is, all this time we have considered V1 is equal to 0. So what will happen if I have the velocity V1? So the first derivation what we did was actually we consider completely V1 is negligible. Now if we consider V1, what will happen? Now from the steady flow energy equation, so from the SFE for a nozzle, for a nozzle, so I can write V2 square minus V1 square by 2. Okay, this is equal to, okay, so we have two expressions. One is your n minus n by 1 into P1 V1 minus P2 V2. This is you due to your work done. This is a work done expression if I am executing a cycle. This is also equal to integral of 1 upon 2 VdP, which is also equal to your H1 minus H2. So this I am writing all the equations in one go. The only thing is I am trying to add extra here is actually only the V1 square. That's all. Rest all the expressions we have looked into that. Rest all the expressions we have seen. Okay. Now, if I take R as the pressure ratio, so let us define R is equal to P2 by P1, okay, as the pressure ratio, If I define it, I can write equation 1 as, so equation 1 I can write it as V2 square minus V1 square by 2 is equal to, so only I am going to consider this and this. So whenever I require, I am going to consider the integral of VdP or H1 minus whatever it is. Only I am going to consider that one. So V2 square minus V1 square is equal to n by n minus 1 into, if I take P1 V1 outside, what this will be 1 minus P2 V2 divided by P1 V1. Okay, so let me call this as equation 2. Okay, now, so what is the process actually? So the process is according to P to power of n is equal to constant. Okay, I can write P1 V1 to power of n is equal to P2 V2 to power of n, which is equal to constant, because I am trying to consider a polytropic process. So polytropic process is a frictionless. Okay, so it's a frictionless adiabatic process. So polytropic process, but only thing is I am trying to consider the V1, the initial velocity. So if I go by this particular thing, so what will happen? Your P2 by P1, okay, I can write it as V1 by V2 whole to the power of n, or I can write V1 by V2 or V2 by V1, whatever the way I want. I can write V2 by V1. Okay. So V2 by V1 is equal to, okay, V2 by V1 is equal to P1 by P2. So, okay, V2 by V1 is equal to, so V1 into R to the power of, so it will be P1 by P2 whole to the power of 1 by n, or I can write V2 is equal to V1 into, so V1 into, so this will be, so P2 by P1 whole to the power of minus 1 by n. I'm trying to reverse it. Okay, or I can write V1 into R to the power of minus 1 by n. So I'm calling this as equation number 3. So now I'll substitute for this V2 in equation 2. Substitute for V2 in equation. So V2 as well as R. So substitute for V2 in equation 2. So in equation 2, if I substitute, what will happen? V2 square minus V1 square by 2 is equal to n by n minus 1 into P1 V1 into 1 minus P2 by P1, and I'm going to substitute for V2, that is in terms of R. So this will be V1 into R to the power of minus 1 by n divided by, so divided by V1. So V1 just they cancel out. Just me substitute that. Okay. Let me substitute that. So this will be V2 square minus V1 square by 2 is equal to n by n minus 1 into P1 V1 into 1 minus, so P2 by P1. If I take it out, this will be V1 R to the power of minus 1 by n divided by V1. Okay. So this is the thing. So now V1 just they cancel out, and P2 by P1 is actually, so V2 by V1, P2 by P1 is R actually. So I can replace P2 by P1 as R. Okay, so P2 by P1 I can substitute as R. So this will be V2 square minus V1 square by 2 is equal to n by n minus 1 into P1 V1 into 1 minus R, okay, R to the power of, see, it's actually R to the power of 1 minus 1 by n. R minus 1 by n. So R it will be n minus 1 by n. Or I can write in the next step as, this will be V2 square minus V1 square by 2 is equal to n by n minus 1 into P1 V1 1 minus R to the power of n minus 1 by n. So this is the expression for your V2 square. Now what will be your V2 square? I can write it as, I can take this to the right hand side. So this will be V2 square will be equal to, so if I take 2 to the right hand side, this will be 2 into n by n minus 1 into P1 V1 into 1 minus R to the power of n minus 1 by n, okay, plus, so minus will become plus, this will be V1 square. So I want V2 only, I will take square root of it. If you want only V2, I'll just take square root of it. So V2 is equal to 2 into n by n minus 1 into P1 V1 into 1 minus R to the power of n minus 1 by n plus V1 square. So this will be the expression for, let me call this as equation number 4. This is the expression for exit velocity with initial velocity, with inlet velocity considered. With the inlet velocity considered. Now, if I try to substitute this velocity in my mass flow rate equation, okay. So what is my mass flow rate? So mass flow rate is given by, mass flow rate is given by, what is it actually? It is m dot is equal to either rho a v, this is the general expression, or I can write, so rho is nothing but your m dot is equal to a into v by your small, that is in terms of specific volume, or I can write, so this is with respect to your exit velocity. I can write v2, okay, in terms of v2. So v2 I can write, so v2, let me write, that is mass flow rate is equal to, that is m dot is equal to a2 into v2 divided by small v2. Okay, let me call this as expression number 5. Now what I'm going to do, substitute for this v2, that is exit velocity 2, from equation 4. If I try to substitute for this particular thing, and I'm going to get the expression for mass flow rate. If I want, I can write m dot by a2 also, I can take it outside. So that this will be only capital V2 by small v2. So whatever the way you want, you can write it. So substitute for V2 from equation 4 in equation 5. If I do that, so what I'm going to get, it is m dot is equal to a2. So what is your V2? So I can just, it's a square root of 2 into n by n minus 1 into p1 v1 1 minus r to the power of n minus 1 by n, okay, plus v1 square by, so it's v1 square whole thing divided by small v2. Okay, now I can take this v2 inside. Why I can take it v2 inside? Because if you go back and see here, I have the expression for v2 in terms of v1. So in terms of pressure ratio, okay, so v2 is equal to v1 r to the power of minus 1 by n. So this equation can be simplified. I can simplify it further, just simply like m dot by a2. Just I'm taking my a2 to the denominator. So this will become square root of, I'm taking this v2 inside, means it will become v2 square. Okay, square root of, okay, square root of 2 into n by n minus 1 into p1 v1 divided by v2 square, okay, into 1 minus r to the power of n minus 1 by n, okay, plus v1 square divided by small v2 square. Because the v2 I have taken inside, so both I have to do it actually. So now you know that v2 is equal to v1 into r to the power of minus 1 by n. This already we have got from the equation 3. Already we know this. Now substitute for v2 in the equation. So substitute for v2. So what will happen? So m dot by a2 is equal to square root of 2 into n by n minus 1 into p1 v1 divided by v1 square r to the power of square, that is minus 2 by n, okay, into 1 minus r to the power of n minus 1 by n, two brackets, plus, so v1 square divided by, here also I'll putting, so v1 square, it's a small v1 square r to the power of minus 2 by n. Okay, so this is how I can substitute it actually. So then further simplification I can do. So I can just simply see v1, one of the v1 will go off. So one of the v1 will go off. I will try to take r inside. Okay, so if I do that, m dot by a2 is equal to square root of, so 2 into n by n minus 1. So one of the v1 will go off. It will be simply p1 by v1 So I will take this r to the power of minus 2 by, if I take it inside, into 1, this will be r to the power of 2 by n minus r to the power of 2 by n plus n by n minus 1. What will be? See, this will be r to the power of 2 by n plus n minus 1 by n. If I take n common, this will become n plus 1 by n. Okay, this will become n plus 1 by n. This will be capital V1 square divided by small v1 square into r to the power of plus 2 by n. Okay. Now what I'm going to do for the simplification, what I'm going to do, this will be m dot by a2 is equal to square root of, if you want I can retain as it is, or if you want I can go in terms of n plus 1 by n. So this will be square root of, square root of 2 into n by n minus 1 into p1 by v1 r to the power of 2 by n minus, this will be r to the power of n plus 1 by n plus v1 square by small v1 square into r to the power of plus 2 by n. So let me call this as equation number 6. So this is the expression for your mass flow rate, and I am trying to write in terms of pressure ratio. Now you try to look at it. How can I maximize your mass flow rate per unit area or with respect to your exit area? That means if I try to differentiate this equation 6 and equate it to 0, so I'll be getting the critical pressure ratio, what I got for the for a nozzle flow without initial velocity. I'll be getting the same critical pressure ratio for this particular velocity also. So with an initial velocity or with inlet velocity. So I'll be getting the expressions very similar to that. So what I need to do here actually, I need to maximize for maximum mass flow. For maximum mass flow. For maximum mass flow. So what should I do? I should differentiate dm dot by dA2. Okay, with respect to what? See, with respect to your pressure ratio. See, dm dot, see, I need to see dm dot by a2, dm dot by a2 with respect to your pressure ratio, where r is equal to p2 by p1 and equated to 0. If I'm able to do this, I'll be getting the, see, that is nothing but what is it actually? Let me write it. This is your critical condition. This is your critical condition. Under critical condition, I am trying to do this. So what will be the maximum mass flow rate under this condition? Now if I try to differentiate this actually, what this will be 2 into n minus 1 into p1 by p1. So this will be 2 by n into r to the power of 2 minus n by, so let me differentiate this. So this will be 2 into n by n minus 1 into p1 v1. So let me differentiate this. What this will be 2 by n into r to the power of 2 minus 1 by n. So that is 2 by n minus 1. This will be 2 minus n by n minus n plus 1 by n into r to the power of n plus 1 by n minus 1. This will become 1 by n. Okay, simply I'm directly writing it. Plus, okay, so that will be 2 by n into, this will be v1 square by small v1 square. This will be r to the power of 2 by n minus 1. This will be 2 minus n by n is equal to 0. So this is what we have. Now, if I try to simplify this, you try to simplify this expression and try to get the value of R. Okay, if what will happen to your R? So what will I'm going to do actually? I'm going to write 2 into n by n minus 1 into P1 V1. Okay, 2 by n into r to the power of 2 minus n by n minus n plus 1 by n into r to the power of 1 by n. Okay, this is equal to 2 by n into v1 square by small v1 square into r to the power of 2 minus n by n. Okay, 2 on either side just simply cancel out. N and see 2 cancel out. So this will become n square. So a lot of things are there. So now, so if I try to open the bracket, so if I try to first you cancel these particular things. 2 just simply cancel out. Okay, then you try to simplify this. So what will happen? You have your P1 V1. So I'm going to get this in such a way that I want this expression in terms of R. So can you guys take this as an assignment and try to do this and get the expression for R?